Hello again, AFW faithful, and welcome to any major marks that happen to stumble upon this video because of the subject matter. We are going to be reviewing FWF Season 2, Episode 2, Month 2. And I am a smart Mark, part of the Off the Hop Rope family. Gang affiliated, the commissioner of AFW, the Tony Deppen of wrestling figure collecting. I am the peacekeeper, Dylan Gilbert. With me as always are my two friends. Daredevil Dave Dahl, introduce yourself.
As your friend, your hero, your My House Sports Gear sponsored athlete, your Retromania wrestling superstar, or the Virgil. It's up to you.
Get
The king of the downvote, the head of the AFW breakdown brand, Daredevil Dave Dahl coming at you with some FWF review.
And El Presidente Jerry Cook, light it up, my friend.
It is I, El Presidente of the Carnage brand, the major brawler, the major dad, the heart and soul of the Major Pod Facebook group, Jerry at Jerry Damage Cook.
And we are here to bring you a review of FWF Season 2, Episode 2. And if you've watched any of my unboxings, and I'm sure you haven't, I'm always wearing the appropriate attire for the moment with my Off the Hop Rope shirt. Let's, dive into... We're going to save the best for last. Let's jump into Turmoil's War Games pay-per-view. What did you guys think of War Games?
Thought it was good. My main critique of the actual War Games match is I know that we had different people in it this year, but
It was pretty much the same.
Same kind of thing where we saw, Austin versus NWO in War Games. I think, last time it was Austin versus NWO.
With DX.
With DX, yeah, in the last year. And then, so this year, kind of similar stuff. There's other stuff that we saw. Didn't we see, Jarrett versus Taz at the end of the hardcore match? Didn't we see that before, I want to say?
That sounds right.
I think from FWF Season 1, Jarrett came out and had fought Taz, I believe, last time.
No, I don't. No, because Jarrett was an
1.
interstate champion in Season 1, but he got traded over.
Yeah, but I think that I thought that they had fought in Season 1. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm misremembering that. If so, then yeah, it's new stuff. But
it was the same old gimmicks that.
Speaking of Jarrett, I appreciated the TNA hardcore.
Yeah,
country.
now that could be something kind of cool. I don't know. Will that lead to a faction of TNA wrestlers and stuff, or is it, what's going to happen with that? Like, what's Jarrett going to do with that? Because, that could be something kind of cool and something kind of new and unique. He drafted Deborah at the end, so you have to think that she's getting paired with Jarrett again.
Mm-hmm.
But what other TNA superstars would be available?
Oh, you could have, Raven. Ken Shamrock could be potential, or I think Shamrock's on.
Technically,
but there's a ton of guys that.
If you think about it, now this might be a loophole, and if Matt's listening, he might, go with this. They're using Toy Biz.
And if you use this, we want to cut.
They're using Toy Biz figures, right?
WCW Toy Biz. I don't think they're using the.
Well, I was gonna say if it wasn't brand specific, you could technically get away with using the TNA Toy Biz.
Yeah. Now, they had talked about using those at one point, allowing those just to kind of expand the selection and stuff. But I think the only thing they added to it this year was the
knockoff,
the KB ones, KB,
the Backlash series.
Backlash series, the ones that were KB only. Because that opens up Eddie and Brock Lesnar and those kind of guys. So.
Which so
Jeff
far
Hardy
has been used to
Matt Hardy.
Yeah.
No.
No Matt Hardy.
There is
There-
a couple of them out there if you can get your hands on.
Yeah, but they weren't
So-
released, so I don't think that
So
doesn't count.
technically, Mark should have been allowed to have him.
No.
If he could get him in hand, but otherwise, I smell collusion.
Even
And
if
it
he can get him in
stinks.
hand, I don't think it's not official. But anyways, so I thought it was a good show. The only the thing that just drags it down for me is it's just kind of some stuff that we've seen before. Positives though, I love the Edge and Christian stuff. I think that's new and that's fresh and that's unique.
Yeah, that was great to me. I thought splitting them up and having this like blood feud kind of was great.
Having the Dudleys on the show, I think, is great. I'm interested. We saw what Brian did with them in FWF 1. So it's great to see, let's see what Matt does with them and stuff. Are they going to be
Glad to see they're going to stand alone.
Yeah, kind of see instead of being flunkies and stuff this time. So it'll be something fresh with them. Matt still does have the headbangers, and he was huge, fans of Mosh and Thrasher. So you kind of like to see what's doing there. I'm still a huge fan of Lowdown or Gold Down or whatever you want to call the
Down with the brown.
D-Lo, Down with the Brown. Yeah, that's that might have been the best thing from episode 1 was that Goldust promo. So there's a lot of stuff that we can point to that are positives and things. I think just the overall takeaway is still that that you just kind of left with that taste in your mouth is that. Now at the end of it, Goldberg did come out, and now we might see Goldberg and Austin together as a team, as a unit. So let's see kind of what happens there instead of them feuding with each other. So,
but knowing Matt long term, Goldberg is going to go back to the NWL.
We'll see. I mean, this is something new to do with him, but
that was kind of the thing that as they were doing the like fade to black moment, was Matt even says we're finally gonna get to see that Stone Cold versus Goldberg, but then was also like he's putting he's aligning the two together, but also saying we're gonna get to see the two face each other. So I feel like there's definitely
he said that
one
line,
of the two is turning heel. Like there's no way they're not. He's not gonna do face versus face. There's not fun storylines.
That line came out about we'll finally get to see it. Well, that was a huge feud in FWF 1, so we kind of already saw that feud in FWF. Remember, because it was at War Games 1 last year where Goldberg speared Austin through the cage, and then as Austin was getting wheeled out to the back, then Goldberg ran him over with a car, and that put Austin out for a couple months, remember?
Yep.
And then, of course, Austin returns back at the collusion match. And the finals of that was Goldberg versus Austin, and so we kind of, have seen that feud before. If you wanted to go down that route again, and stuff,
My thing is Matt puts so much into these that I think he's not even going to realize that he's redoing them in a way because he's so over the top with them. Like I think it's hard for us to retain everything he does. So I think it's hard for him to retain everything he does. Plus he's so busy and stuff and all that too.
Oh,
so
yeah.
There's definitely rehashments where Mark, on the other hand, it's only his first time doing it. So everything from Mark should be new.
Yeah, everything is fresh. Well, like you brought up, it's hard for us to retain, and I say this as an unabashed fan of all three of the guys of the podcast. Like Matt, if you happen to stumble upon this, I love you. Please don't take this the wrong way.
If you love him, why don't you marry him?
It feels a lot of the time like trying to drink from a fire hose. Because everything is so big and it's so loud and it's so everything's happening at once. It is hard. Like I've listened to War Games probably 4 or 5 times, and there's still whole matches that have kind of slipped memory, trying to retain because everything feels like it's just being blasted at you. And I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily. I think he's bringing his own spin to things, and he's a little more over the top. He's a little more animated. And I think that's fine. I think the people that love Turmoil for that are going to continue to love Turmoil for that. For me, it's a little bit much, but it's not bad. It's all entertainment. It's all personal preference.
Oh yeah. I mean, we're all here because because we love this content so much. I mean,
if FWF1 wasn't what it was, the three of us jackasses wouldn't be sitting here talking about it. Let's just be real.
So, all right, let's do overall grade for War Games. What do you give it? Say like out of 10.
No, I have a 10.
Yeah, like 10. 10 is like
out of this world.
AEW's last pay-per-view,
Yeah, that's All Out 2021.
That's a 10.
1 is the last
Live.
November or December to December.
Yeah, that one, or it's the In Your House Beware a Dog where the lights went out and you didn't see any of it.
Yeah,
that's a 1. So
that's a 1.
So where do you guys rank it on a scale from 1 to 10?
I'd give him a 7.
7. That's
yeah, I was gonna say 7 as well. It was good. Like the storylines were there, the action was there. There's always room to improve, but I solid show.
Sometimes he just needs to mellow out a little bit.
I will go an 8.
8.
I think it's good,
and that's fair too.
It's good. The only thing holding me back was just we saw Austin versus NWO in the War Games last year. That's the only thing holding me back from going higher. But I thought it was good. It was good. I think Matt always delivers on these.
So overall rating of 7.3 repeating.
Yeah.
7.3 repeating, of course.
So now let's move on to the
high energy
other
Mark.
brand. Yeah, Matt. So the criticism for Thrill Zone and Mark last time, and then granted, I think we talked about it on their extra long review.
Our triple XL edition of FWF reviewed.
Our Yokozuna size one.
Dude.
That Mark, it was his first time out, and Mark had talked about it on his 1-800-THRILLZONE. Just how more complicated it is and stuff. And then Mark wasn't.
Well, the deck
at
was
home
stacked against him. He was on the road. He was in a hotel room. He had a flight upcoming. Like I mean the
he didn't have the figures in front of him.
Yeah, he didn't have the figures in front of him. He had like his phone for all of it and his laptop, and so he was not in a comfortable environment. Yeah,
and then plus he was having to flip back and forth between notes. And also back to his music to play the music and stuff for it. So he was having it. So that's the reason at times it would seem like he was lost. It's because he had come back into his notes to try to read what was going on. And it lost his spot and stuff. So when he kind of talked about it, you're like, well, okay, I kind of see what was happening and stuff. But that's part of the learning curve of this is, trying to figure out what works for you and what doesn't. So, but this time Mark, he even said, I took a coffee, I drank a coffee before we got started. And man, you can tell because if Mark was, monotone or kind of sleepy in pay-per-view 1, he was not in this one.
I think we got stage fright, Mark, a little bit.
Maybe a little bit
in episode 1. I think all of those factors playing in, and also just the fact that like we've had a whole season of FWF. You've got people to this day fighting it out in comment sections, whether they're Thrill Zone or Turmoil. He's stepping in with no real experience on this. And I think the first thing I'll say is as much crap as everybody gave him for his energy in the recording of month 1, he made up for and then some with his figure photography. Holy crap, guys, if you haven't seen it, go find that file. I mean, he put up like 104 pictures, was it? It was crazy. It was so detailed and so well done. The PBR center.
The Pabst
just
Blue Ribbon Center.
Pabst
Yeah,
Blue Ribbon Center. Unreal. And,
that was so well done.
Unbiased while wearing my What's on Tap off the hop rope, bring it back t-shirt. Mark, as much as people crapped on him for his energy, his fig photography was unreal.
It was on point. Yeah.
But like this time around, I think his energy was better. His stories were a little bit better. His twists were a little bit better. And again, like we just said when we were talking about Matt, it's like for him this is all new, so he's not able to rehash anything really.
Everything's going to be fresh.
So he's doing really this episode or this pay-per-view for him was great. He just, some of his deliveries got kind of messed up because he was laughing.
Which is, to be expected. We all give each other crap in the middle of recordings.
Come again?
Oh, we'll get to it. Don't you worry.
But like, the best part was like he took the time to give Matt a taste of his own medicine, where Brian would just be like, yeah, whatever, you're stupid. Like,
yeah, and I think like we just teased it. Let's go ahead and dive into it. I think with Matt booking the Patriot Del Wilkes essentially as Kurt Angle, like music is acceptable because the Patriot did it first, but like the finishers are the same, the attitude is the same. I mean, he's basically booking Del Wilkes as Kurt Angle, and so for Mark to pull off what is probably the most invested I've ever been in a fictional character with rock hard Steve Boston. I turned around after listening to that episode and bought an 8-ball Jax figure. I have not once in my figure collecting bought a figure that I didn't have like some connection to, whether it be like a nostalgic thing or a guy that I've been watching currently. I had no real nostalgic feeling for 8-ball. I snagged 8-ball because I'm so bought in on rock hard Steve Boston that I just needed to have that figure in my collection.
It was such a great idea. And I need to go park
and that's the main idea.
Idea. You gotta say
the main idea.
Yeah,
because Rock Hard said such.
Come again?
Come again?
Come again? Come again?
Next month you're gonna have to park your car at the harbor.
Park the car. I need to park the car. It's like that damn commercial that was at the Super Bowl the one year.
Yep.
Yeah, with Chris Evans and everybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I mean,
the car park.
For myself, I said this to Jerry off air, but I'm from Louisiana, born and raised, but I'm a hockey fan, and I've always been a fan of the Boston Bruins. Big Z, come back home. We love you. But because of this, because I've got Bruins jerseys hanging in my closet, all of my family has done the Boston, park the cat, the habit. I've had to kind of learn to have fun with it and jab back without it driving me crazy.
Well, you can always just do the crawfish boil thing. You get your crawfish boiling. Put your
when Shipping Up to Boston played, because I've got a stack of Dropkick Murphys CDs. I love me some good Dropkick Murphys. When Shipping Up to Boston played, I was like, please tell me this is like a Boston-centric Steve Austin knockoff. It was just too perfect.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too, is like, it's not just playing Dropkick Murphy. I mean, it was like the glass shattered into
Shipping Up to Boston.
So that's another thing that
he's going above and beyond with that stuff.
Yeah, with that, with the House of Pain theme song, the Rock Superstar with Mark Henry's voice on it and things. So the Yokozuna theme that he played, which actually had Brian going do 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 do. He actually had it wasn't Brian doing it on air. He had actually edited in.
Yeah, they used the drop of Brian doing that, which I thought was fantastic.
Yeah, so
I
it was.
also have really enjoyed the like intro video, like intro packages he's done with
Is that
with Top
CPA
Shelf.
or Top Shelf? Yeah.
That's Top Shelf. My boy, if you're listening to this, big ups. We've talked beer. But I think they're great. I think it's a real fun like reminder.
It is. It's a good way to introduce the show,
Especially
and kind of come into it.
If you're going every month, having that like last month on, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So grade for Mark.
We're gonna go ahead and cover my off the hop rope T-shirt when I say like 8.5. I think a lot of that is because of the substantial improvement. Because he went from like everybody in the Major Pod group ripping him to absolute shreds, and then he put out his figure photography and stepped it up, and then this show, I think he did a great job. There's still room to improve. There's always room to improve. But, man, I was going to say 8, but Rockhod Steve Boston gave me that 0.5. So I'm going to say 8.5 out of 10.
I'll go 9 out of 10.
I was going to go 9 too, just because it was such a vast improvement in the fact that he's going above and beyond with the extra music, creating his own character to combat what Matt's doing.
Yeah. That was such a great just middle finger right back. Like I man.
So that is an overall score of 27.5. Divide that by 3. 8.
You just that's a 66 and 2/3 chance
I
for an angled nose.
Quiet.
My calculator just says Thrill Zone. That's the winner for this month.
Thrill Zone is our
so I think month 1 it was Matt.
winner.
Month 2 it is
it's like
coming up Thrill Zone. So now we're going to see month 3. It'll be a real contest because if I know anything about Matt, it's that Matt will take this and see that now, okay, Mark's bringing it. So Matt's now going to step up his game. And if we've got a renewed, Mark continuing kind of what he's doing and Broski's getting ready to come back swinging, let's see what happens there and stuff, So I'm really excited for month 3 to kind of continue this and see what happens next.
It's a total score of 9 point something for overall score. So Mark wins this week or this month.
9 point something of some sort.
It's like 9.1666666.
Look, to make the math easier, I'm trying to be conservative because I was the first one stepping up. I wanted to give Mark a 9 because you're
we
not
can just
gonna
say
find
9 for everybody.
More of a smart Mark.
Well, I did
myself.
math wrong anyway because 8.5 plus 9 is 17.5.
I wasn't going to call you. I wasn't going to call you.
26.5.
I wasn't going to call you out on the math, but
Yeah, I should just fucking.
We're all friends here. We're not going to Steiner math you too hard.
It's late. Okay, it's late.
Look. If
I
you're to go,
it. All right, I Braun breakered it.
If you're going to go one-on-one with another man, you got a 50-50 chance at best of winning. But me, I'm a genetic freak, and I'm not normal.
Look at my
Thanks
eyes,
for letting me
and what
fall
do
on my
you
own
see?
sword, guys. I thought one of you guys was going to help bail me out on that one.
No,
So,
I think that's it for the review.
yeah.
That's it for our review. It's late. We're delirious. We've recorded our pay-per-views, our draft special, which, if you're listening to this, it's going to air before those two things. So please go check us out wherever you get your podcasts. Anchor, Spotify, iTunes, Castbox, wherever. Check out Action Figure Wrestling Pod. Yeah, Walkman. Find a guy on the corner who sells tapes of podcasts. Go to youtube.com. Check out Action Figure Wrestling Pod. We've got video versions of our podcast. We've got the AFW Uncaged series where we unbox and review whatever figures we can get our hands on. And we've got more stuff coming down the pipeline. Check us out, like, share, subscribe. And for all the boys of AFW, giving all the best wishes to the FWF, we say good night, and that's the main idea. Because Rock Hard said such.
Come again?
Come again?